I got nothing. This is what you get today. Keep calm. Carry on. That's all I got for you. Hi everyone, welcome to One Hungry Mish. It's me, Mish. As you can see here, I am home again. It is so good to be back. It has actually snowed since I've gotten back here. It snowed while I was away, it snowed while I'm here. You're probably wondering like, okay, what's today? You did 𝘚𝘵𝗶𝗽𝗀 back home with your fam. You've made 𝘚𝘵 pie 100 times now. What is it that we are having? Give me one moment. Okay, so what was the thing I was so excited about that I had to go running off camera for it? Anyone know what clotted cream is? Because those who do, yes, I found clotted cream. Those who don't, you're really missing out. So I actually had to text my father as soon as I found this because I haven't actually seen many English imports since being in these parts of the US because my father had some years abroad in England and there's certain things that he misses about England. 𝘚𝘵𝗰𝗶𝗽𝗺, something like that is something he enjoys snacking on. He says he can never find here. Clearly, it never left an impression on me because I'm still struggling to say what it is. But clotted cream is the highlight of afternoon tea. I will fight you for it. I won't actually fight you, I'm not a violent person. But it really does add to the joy of having tea with a fresh, hot scone. So what are we making today? Because wow, if I'm just telling you about this so I can make a cup of tea, you've been catfished. It's a scone. We're gonna make scones. Last year I had a really, really deep dive in on scones. I kind of was some level obsessed. No, I definitely was some level obsessed. My friends really urged me to share my recipe back when I was just starting out my blog, and I think this is a good time to break it out and just make some really good flexible scones. I say that because you can use them for savory or sweet applications, and it's really easy. Truly, scones are pretty easy to make. They're kind of like a catch-all, like quiche for leftovers, but in delicious extra carby form. Okay, let's get started. To make this, we're going to need 2 cups or about 240 grams of all-purpose flour. We are going to sift that with our other dry ingredients. So that includes 1 teaspoon or about 6 to 7 grams of salt, as well as 1 tablespoon or about 15 grams of baking powder. And then another tablespoon or about another 15 grams of sugar. So just gonna let this work really quickly. It is so good to have technology again, y'all. Wow, I missed being able to do that. Okay, the dry ingredients have been taken care of, which means a very important thing here, unsalted butter. This is 1 whole stick, or 4 ounces, or half a cup, or 113 grams because there's so many ways to describe your butter. I've frozen this after cubing it. You can have it frozen and then grate this, or you can just cut it chilled. Oh, I definitely froze this after the fact. But you want cold butter because your butter is what helps create the delicious texture of scones. So if this weren't frozen, it would have just plopped out. But here we are. And we're just going to work that just until you have a crumbly texture. You don't want to overwork it. And there is milk that's involved with this. Yeah. There is milk that's involved with this, but I want to be sure that we handle our butter appropriately. All right, now let's see that butter get incorporated. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. I should have cut that smaller. If the camera will focus on this, look at this crumbly texture. I think it's important, especially if you're unfamiliar with what this could look like, to actually see what this is. So you truly use that, a crumbly look. As promised, now we'll be adding in our milk. This is about 300 grams or 1.25 cups of whole milk. I have mentioned in the blog post that depending on how rich of a scone you're making, you can have different types of milk. You could use buttermilk, you could use heavy cream, but I'm just going for good old whole milk here. And with the whole milk added in here, we're just going to just combine. So we've combined all of our ingredients, and now we have, admittedly, a little bit wetter than I'm used to seeing. fold, please. As I noticed, it's a little bit stickier than I'd like. I know I still have to add my inclusions, yes, because you can have scones as is, or you can just, you know, enjoy them classically. But I'm going to be actually adding a little extra flour to make sure that this ingredient will create a nice, sticky, happy dough. Because you're essentially going to bake this for up to 20 minutes on a 425 Fahrenheit oven to give you delicious scones. Things that I'm going to add in, you can have any inclusion you want. I actually was really craving having something tangy and sweet, so I have some barberries from the local market. Barberries kind of remind me, I know this is gonna not do it justice, but they have like the zing that kind of reminds me a little bit of like a goji berry or sorrel, because hibiscus does have that tang to it. It's not quite, it's definitely still its own thing, as well as some chocolate chips. Combined, it's a 1/4 cup of each, adding it with that additional flour put in here. But let's add that flour in first, just in case. Ah yeah, that definitely is more the texture we're looking for. Lightly floured surface here, there's the flour. Time to go add the scone onto here. We turn out the dough onto the lightly floured surface. I know it's probably overkill using a silicone mat and this, but you know what? I really don't want to spend all day cleaning this up, especially since I am concerned that this apartment is too hot for the butter, because I'm not used to such doughy scone. So I may be adding even more flour to the surface to make sure this all sticks. Flour is your friend. Am I overdoing it a little bit? Maybe, but flour is your friend. Ultimately, with this, you just want to pat it into your shape. Additional tip, if you're worried that you do have a wet dough or it is really hot in your place, after mixing in your ingredients together, you can stick it in the fridge to chill. Treat it like cookie batter, right? You don't want it to be so flat. Make sure your butter's taken care of, or whatever fat that's used in your respective cookie. I'm just gonna cut this into 8 equal pieces and throw it on the parchment paper to, again, bake for, I believe, 15 minutes is what I'm aiming for here. Okay, while that's baking, wanted to give a quick update. I was definitely bothered by seeing how wet my dough was. It was actually great because I could teach you all what to do if there is any troubleshooting. Wet dough doesn't necessarily mean it's irredeemable. But at the end of the day, one of my earlier versions of my recipe, I had scaled this to make double what it currently makes. And when I had reduced it down, I did not actually reduce down the milk. So it makes sense why it was a much stickier dough. Which means I can stop blaming the warm apartment for that. But it is warm, so after this is done baking, I can open a window. But again, wanted to stay honest with you all, want to keep everything, you know, educational where it needs to be educational, interesting where it's hopefully interesting, but we're one step closer to clotted cream, so thanks for bearing with. 15 minutes later. It's been a little bit of time. I didn't actually keep track of time, but I'm just really excited to open this up. First time ever. Look at that clotted cream goodness. I am hyped about scones, I promise. Because look at this. This is probably one of the fluffier ones I've made due to the wet to dry ratio, but watch. Wow. I hope you get to see, yes, look at that. Oh, amazing. Now to add the clotted cream to it. Okay, I'll try this piece without. This is the closest thing to a biscuit I've made, and I'm not mad at it. Definitely on the fluffier side of scones, which is also fine. So the Washington State Fair has a famous scone shop that is known for their fluffy scones. So if anything, I've really acclimated to this area quite well. Okay, this is as much cream as the spoon could go into the jar. It is about the same size as the jar lid, so I'm not surprised there. But, oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. So, anyways, it's Mish here. I'm happy. Hopefully you're happy. You can make scones. You can make Washington State Fair style scones if you choose to stick with the as seen on video version. I've gone ahead and updated the blog so it's accurate to the appropriate ratios, but I'll add in that little side note there. But thanks, y'all. Stay hungry. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. This is worth it.